The most recent provincial election not only saw a surprise outcome at the polls, it also saw a reversal of voting trends. While the numbers at the advanced polls remained largely unchanged, the percentage of people who turned out to vote on election day bucks the trend.
Roughly the same percentage of voters turned out to the advanced polls this election over the previous provincial election, while those who turned out on election day was marginally higher, from 50% to 52%.
It's a real wide variety of people and perspectives. We had a number of young voters. They seemed to really want to vote this time around, and it ran the gamut to people who are in care facilities and who really had an interest in this election. So I would say it's across the board.
In the 1983 provincial election, more than 70% of eligible voters cast a ballot. That dropped to 50% in 2009. It makes for an entirely different campaign.
When you have 70% of the voters turn out, your focus is on on public opinion, on swaying public opinion, because 7 to 8 out of 10 of the voters are going to turn up and cast a ballot. By the time you have a 50% voter turnout, it becomes much more about market segments. So we run a much stronger ground game to make sure that of the half of the people who are eligible to vote that actually show up, that our folks are there.
Charles Scott says with a 50% voter turnout, methods like phone banks are a more effective campaign tool than platforms. Elections BC has also taken some measures via mobile polling stations to get people to the ballot box.
From mail-in ballots, voting in the office, site-based, and so on. So Elections BC wants to continue that. You probably saw in the news that there was a drive-in poll in Comox. The Kelowna district had a poll at their airport.
But Scott doesn't feel forcing people to the ballot box, mobile or traditional, will result in better outcomes on election night.
People who want to engage have ample opportunity to do so. If you want in, no problem. A number of folks aren't prepared to figure out what they think about certain things, or they figured it out, they just don't care enough to engage.
Scott says the older populations, those who fought in wars to earn the right to vote, and immigrants who came from far worse circumstances are those who typically turn out at the polls. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.